Hello everyone and welcome to Scout Around, an overview of the Eurovision preselection weekend. It was a first really busy weekend with 6 shows on Saturday and one more on Sunday. Saturday marked the start of Melodifestivalen. Host country Sweden comes up with a big preselection with several interesting names. And the first heat was this weekend. 2 songs qualified for the final. Ace Wilder with Don't Worry and Robin Bengtson with Constellation Prize. To Andra Jansen went Rick by Albin and Matthias and Bada Nakna by Samir and Victor. And for ESC Daily, Jill Guthrie followed the start of Melodifestivalen together with her Eurovision experience partner Mihalis Volmer. And I've her on the phone. Jill, what did you think about the kickoff in Sweden?
I think it went rather well. The 2 favorites made it to the final, so...
Do you think, as Ace Wilder, a familiar name in the contest, that she indeed qualified with ease?
Because of that, you mean?
Yeah, and because of the level of the song, was it easy for her? Because we don't know the actual results, of course.
Yeah, I would say so. She's a favorite in the competition to start, and as Mihalis put it, our colleague, he said the the 2 that qualified for the final were always going to qualify for the final out of this selection because of, first of all, their position in the show and because they were the 2 favorites. So I think, yeah.
Does she also stand a chance to do well in the final again as she did before in Melodifestivalen?
I would say so. I haven't actually heard all of the songs yet, but so far, from what I have seen and what I have heard, I would say she is a strong contender.
We also had Robin Bengtson with Constellation Prize, which is you're a native English-speaking person, which is is it a wrong title or is it something that they did on purpose? What do you think? Because it's not correct English.
No. I'm not honestly sure. It should be Consolation Prize, but perhaps if you read more into the lyrics and the meaning of the song, it might have been done on purpose and have a different meaning than we would normally think it to.
We know in Melodifestivalen the field in the first heats has already been narrowed down to 7 since last year. Mm-hmm. Now we had the disqualification of the song by Anna Book. And we only had 6 songs left. It was hardly a competition, to be fair.
Yeah, and a lot of the songs in this first show were quite similar as well.
Is that a problem for the future? Should SVT go back to the way it was with one more song in each heat?
I don't think so. I don't really see a problem arising from that, but possibly.
Well, because you also said the 2 qualifiers we now had, everybody could almost, before the show, figure out that they were going to qualify. And with that smaller field, it's like it's not really giving the tension we would like to see in such a big show.
That's true. Yeah, from what I've seen, I think it would depend on the selection you had in the specific year. Because like this heat wasn't as strong, and those 2 songs that qualified were the strongest and the favorites. So,
about last thing about the songs that went to Andra Jansen. In the past, we have had Robin Schoenberg, who also had to qualify through Andra Jansen and eventually went to Eurovision. Are the songs that qualified for Andra Jansen of that level? Could they eventually be a surprise winner of the whole thing?
Well, there's always the chance.
But not really, I hear.
Yeah, well, the 2 that qualified, they're both duos, and they were both similar songs with a similar presentation. Albin and Matthias were a bit better than, their song was a bit better than the other one so far out of those 2. But neither of them were as great quality as the 2 that advanced to the final, for example. So probably not yet we would have the Andra Jansen be the winner, but who knows?
Thank you, Jill. Other results from this weekend. Hungary rounded up their quarter-final stage. The band Petrushka won the third heat with ease, as did Andras Kale-Sanders with his band last week, and Freddy's hit song Pioneer in the first heat. These three acts, together with Ola Gergő, seem to be the favorites for the semi-finals and the final of Adal in the upcoming weeks. Jamala won the first semi-final in Ukraine, and the Hardkiss and Brunettes Shoots Blondes also got through to the finals. Anastasia Prikhotko, who represented Russia in 2009, was eliminated. We now know why there have been so few eliminations in the first 5 episodes in Lithuania. The selection process has been rescheduled and lengthened with 2 weeks, so the final will now take place on March 12th instead of the 27th of February. So far there are still 18 acts left in Lithuania, including Erica Jennings from the band Scamp in 2001 and Donny Montel, who we have all seen in Baku 2012 before. In Latvia, the song Heartbeat, composed by Aminata, who successfully represented that country last year in the Eurovision Song Contest, has qualified for the semi-final of Supernova. The group Electrofolk, who were in the final of Latvia last year, were eliminated after the first heat this Sunday. And as usual, the first semi-final in Finland produced some interesting songs and performances from the 6 contestants. Each song had its own interesting details, but in the end, Sara Aalto, Stella Christine and Aini were chosen by the Finnish public to move on to the next final round. But Sweden and Finland were not the only Nordic countries who kicked off their pre-selection. Iceland also started with Song Vakepnin. And for ESC Daily, Neil McInnes followed that show. Neil, who have qualified for the final in Iceland?
The 3 qualifiers were Greta Salome, Erna Anhjörter and Carlotta.
And were that the rightfully qualifiers in your opinion?
I think Greta, the show was sort of all about Greta Salome, really. It was very one-horse race. She really sort of stole the show. It was all about her. The other 2 finalists, I mean, I wasn't too sure. There was Siga Aaron with the song Crazy, which was borderline qualifier, I'd say. But Erna and Hjörter, I did not remember their song at all. So I was really shocked that they qualified. But nevertheless, they've made it through, and we've still got 1 extra wild card, so that could go to Siga, hopefully, but who knows.
With Greta Salome in the contest, all eyes on her, as you say. Is it a real contest in Iceland this year, or is it even for the final still yet to come, also this one-horse race?
It is such a one-horse race. It's all anybody has talked about on Twitter. It's a lot like Estée Lauder last year when you had Alina and Stig, who won something like 79% of the vote. It's going to be a very big lead for Greta in the final, I think.
Should she indeed win with this song? What's your opinion? Should she also keep the Icelandic language or change it for Eurovision?
I definitely think it works in Icelandic. There were some entries that would have worked better in English. There was one from Ingolfur, and it was called Sækter Namsauer, which in English translates into a broke student. And I mean, there was a lot of stuff going on stage, which if you didn't speak Icelandic, you wouldn't have got it. So, of course, he didn't qualify. Whereas Radinoir, it just works. And it works well in Icelandic. You've got the visual show, which with the LED screen that brings the whole thing to life. It's quite dark, it's mysterious. A lot of people have compared it to Loreen, or the fact that she uses an LED screen to Mansalmelo, so it's got that comparison, so it should do very well.
You're enthusiastic about Greta Salome, but I read in your live blog that you made for ESC Daily last Saturday, you were also very optimistic and enthusiastic about the interval act.
Yes, Pal Oscar. He performed an original song, which was a sort of tribute to the competition in Iceland, because this year it was their 30th anniversary, and I have no idea why he wouldn't compete in the Song Vakepnin this year, but it's not to be.
So, is there in the next week, in the next heat in Iceland, any contender for Greta or not?
I'm not sure yet. I mean, this happens every year in Iceland. That a lot of the entries they sound quite similar, so it's hard to distinguish one apart from the other. So when you see the visual show, that's what makes it stand out, and that's what makes it important. So I guess they all just have to bring their A game because they know what they're up against now. So
Thank you, Neil McInnes, for ESC Daily. This was Scout Around for this week. Next weekend we have 10 shows on Saturday. It's a super Saturday with finals in Denmark, Switzerland and Italy. Follow us again on escdaily.com and have a good week.